Hello, everybody. It's your boy Young C right here, and I hope you're enjoying Valet Celebration 2019, the first Valet Celebration 2019. Today is DSC Archive Day, where I go into the vault. I'm hopping into the fucking vault, and today I have a very special video to show with you guys. I had a conversation with DJ Douggpound. DJ Douggpound is an awesome musician, artist, very strong conceptual writer, creator, very experimental. The way this guy looks at humor and approaches humor in his work. He's a frequent collaborator with Tim and Eric, who you all know probably. Tim Heidecker, Eric Warehim, of the Tim and Eric Show, which was on Adult Swim. Douggpound also has a podcast called the Poundcast. He has a show called Poundhouse. He's responsible for Two Wet Crew, Doug's Bugs. He's worked on the Eric Andre Show and many other awesome shows. You can find them on Douggpound.com. So this conversation we had was done last year, and we did put him in a room. We had him in a room, which you guys can also see if you look in the show notes. But yeah, this was a very interesting conversation where we just went. I did have a lot of questions lined up for him, but we did go off the cuff like I do with a lot of my interviews. We talked a lot about creativity, some of his inspirations for how he creates things. We talked about, we got kind of into the weeds in terms of the quality of the humor, the quality of the stories, and the worlds that he's created. And I think that's one of the things I'm always been most fascinated about with his work, is that it sort of exists in a dimension that's right next to ours, but not quite. It's this quality that you'll understand if you watch his stuff, which again is very fun. This was a great conversation. Check it out. Thanks for participating in this Valet Celebration. Thank you, Douggpound, for doing this. All right, let's get into the vault.
How's my week been?
Yeah.
It's been pretty good. I'm doing I'll do a podcast called the Poundcast.
Yes.
And the podcast network I'm on, Starburns Audio, is going to do, or is already doing, a tape cassette subscription thing where every month they're going to have a new tape cassette by a different person or group. Most of them are part of their podcast network or just other creative type people that they work with. And they're all conceptual cassettes. Like Johnny Pemberton did one that's all like prank calls.
Yeah.
There's another one that's going to be an improvised book on tape where one person starts a story and then the other person, it's like a exquisite corpse kind of thing.
Yeah.
There's one that's like a guided museum tour for like a museum that doesn't exist. So it's that kind of stuff. Mine is going to be a workout tape, because they asked me if I had any ideas, and I said, workout tape would be cool, because I like to mess around with playing around with beats and stuff.
Did you just come out of the gate with that idea, like you knew already what you wanted to do?
Kind of, yeah, because I wanted to do something. I was thinking like a dance tape, but then that's just like music.
Yeah.
And then I thought exercise tape would be good, but I wanted to make it where you can actually do the exercises, like legit exercise tape.
But
not completely, but there's some jokey stuff in there. Some exercises I just kind of made up.
That's very interesting territory, like the exercise tape. I remember, like, when I was a kid, there was a tape I used to watch by this lady named Donna Edwards, and like she was like the hot thing. She was like pre-Tybo maybe, but there was always something so strange about that world of like, it was so fake. Like they'd have this pastel ass background and these like super buff people doing these weak ass exercises designed for people at home to do. But just that call and response thing of just like they in their world, they're just talking to the screen, telling you to do shit, and like they don't see anybody though. It's like a very weird interaction with the media.
Yeah, and then this is just an audio cassette too, so
Okay.
You know what I mean? I'm trying to describe what you're doing. I try to keep it simple for stuff, and then hopefully there'll be like some illustrations in like the sleeve of the cassette. For like some of them are like abstract. Like if you ever get when it comes out,
I'm
try to grip a copy, but
I'm so interested, and I think cassettes are. I bought a cassette of Beach House 7, like their latest album, like last week. I never thought I'd be this guy, but I'm 30 now. I know I'm not old, but I'm clearly at this age now where I'm craving having tangible objects again. Like I'm nostalgic for things, and it's not even just me. I mean, like 20-year-olds are getting back into vinyl now. Like, are you into vinyl?
I have been. I don't find myself putting the vinyl on. Like I have a vinyl collection. I used to DJ.
Yeah.
Like when I lived in Chicago, off vinyl. But those days are long gone when I'd be digging through the crates to try to find records. Now I go to the record store and I don't know what to look for. And if I do buy a record once in a while, but I don't find myself putting it on very often. Once in a while I'll put on a record. Like if I'm having like a barbecue or something, it's fun to like play random records. That I have a bunch that people just give me, and they're fun to just put on because it's like, what are these? They're like thrift store kind of records.
Yeah.
Mystery records from Greece. There'll be like one from Greece and then one from like, just some folk singer from the 70s I've never heard of. So they're fun to like. They're fun to like put on once in a while, but yeah, I'm not like a vinyl head. I have a small place. I have nowhere to like put them. I don't have a great amount of space for that. And I mean like the way music now works kind of sucks. I don't like to.
Like you mean the digital stuff, or just like as
just
an
like
artist?
how
like
I mean yeah, just like how to find it and play it. For some reason. Spotify, I finally started using Spotify.
I searched for you and couldn't find. I think maybe I spelled your name wrong on there. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I am on there. I do have some stuff on there.
The 2 G's, that's what got me. Probably.
2 G's, yeah.
Okay.
I'm probably missing out on a lot of 1 cent revenue paychecks from that.
From people be like, I just can't fucking find it. All right, I guess I'm gonna go listen to Taylor Swift now.
Yeah, but I just find it just annoying because you have to. Like I'll be in my car. I don't know, but before I used to like iPods seemed like so much better. Just the music, you just put a ton on there and then you just have it. Now it's like there's almost like too many options. You go to Spotify and it's like I have to go like the interface of it. It's like, okay, my library, my playlist. It just kind of sucks. And then like you have to. It just takes a minute to like open, you're like looking at that thing.
Yeah.
It just takes a second to open. I'm trying to drive and I have to like pull over and be like, forget it. I'm just going to listen to the radio. Like half the time I just give up on it.
But I think that there's something happening where someone smarter than me will figure this out in the future. But I think there's this, rise and fall in terms of choice versus non-choice in media. I don't know what the opposite of choice is. What like being forced to watch one thing. Like for instance, I mean in the 50s, however TV was, where everyone watched Dallas. That was the show, right? Everyone watched in the 70s, like Dallas, that big oil tycoon.
Dallas.
Yeah,
Dallas Dynasty.
Right, Dynasty, and that was everyone would watch that shit. But now we have so much choice, so I think it flip flops. Like I imagine this kind of bizarre world where kids in the future are just gonna be like, no, I just watched the one thing. I don't like choice at all. I just gave it all up. I'm rebelling against my parents by giving up all choice and freedom in that sense. Because I mean, I think I like having limitations. I think that's what you're talking about. Yeah,
because when there's no limitations, when there's like infinite choices, like with dating apps and stuff, you kind of like never settle on anything, and you kind of just always just keep swiping through. Like you're swiping through Netflix, you're swiping through Tinder, you're swiping through whatever, and it's hard to, it's just something about that. There's too many choices makes it almost be like no choices or something.
Yeah, trust me. That's like my life right now. Like I recently deleted my dating apps, and speaking of choice, DJ Douggpound.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you I like saying the obvious on this show. DJ Douggpound, you and I have never met. We're just speaking into a void right now. I'm not even looking at your webcam right now. You're not even looking at mine, right? We're just two disembodied voices on the internet.
I hacked into yours, but yeah.
You hacked into mine? You're in my...
No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. No, I'm not.
You're hacked into be like Lawnmower Man.
I'm not. I'm seeing an image of you. I hope that's you. Yeah. I don't hope it's you.
It's Whoopi Goldberg. Do you see it?
No, I'm not seeing that.
Okay, yeah.
Looks like a man with glasses.
Okay.
Just assuming that's you.
That is me. So what I'm going to suppose to you is that we should create a physical space for this video to live in.
Okay.
Now the thing is, the last guy, I already told you this before the show. Paul White, legendary musician Paul White, already created a room. So I'm going to describe that room to you. I also sent you the footage. Have you seen that of the room that he left?
Do you want me to watch it?
Yeah, check it out. Just watch like 3 seconds of it.
Oh, it's okay. I see.
So I'll describe it while you're looking at it. This is like D&D right now. So you're in a room right now that Paul White left. This is Paul White's room, and now it's going to become your room.
Can you be sorry for my ignorance, but is Paul White Jack White's brother?
No, he's not. Paul White's is this British producer who he's made a lot of beats for Danny Brown, the rapper.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
Done a lot of like Mos Def. He's done a lot of like, produced a lot of fucking awesome records. But so the room that Paul White left over it's like 4 walls. It's like a just very, very general room, except the walls are changing. They're alternating colors, red, yellow, and blue. Do you see it?
Okay. I see it. Yeah, there's some pink, magenta.
Yes, all that kind of shit. The windows are changing all kinds of... Like, there are actually infinite windows in this room. Everywhere you look in a corner, there are windows displaying waterfalls, volcanoes, all kinds of crazy shit happening. Now this room is yours. You could decide to wipe things out, change the walls. This is yours now.
Oh, okay. This is a pretty simple room. I mean, there's windows on the floor, huh? And on the ceiling?
Yes, there are.
Okay. And where are we? Like, what city are we in?
Whoa, Douggpound. You're... Whew. Now I know you like limitations, so I'm gonna play along, and I'll give you. We're in New York. We're in Manhattan.
Yeah, in this room.
Yes, this room is outside of this room is Manhattan.
Okay.
But it's a parallel universe Manhattan. It's not ours. It's like a parallel universe Manhattan where everyone looks the same. Everyone is actually like they have different personalities and stuff, but they all look exactly the same.
Okay. I mean, I'm thinking. I have a lot of ideas here, but
please,
is it something that I want to be comfortable in, or is this just like a fun room to check out?
These rooms, I'm interested in what happens when they're uncomfortable as well. No one has ever made an uncomfortable room, like a room that's not nice to be in. All the rooms beforehand have been kind of very creative, nice spaces. Like you could consider them like an office. The room that Paul White left is like. That's like his creative zone where he makes stuff. But I've never seen anyone make a room that they did not want to be in. But I feel like you're probably a good person to create a sort of hellish landscape inside of this room.
Yeah, okay. Well, okay, so the floor has windows in it.
Yeah.
I was in a like a Space Needle type tower once in Auckland, New Zealand, where they had windows on the floor. And even though I knew it was safe and it was clearly as safe as it could be, it was like terrifying to even step on the glass because you're looking straight down.
Right.
So this room would be like, it would be very high up in Manhattan, and it would be, the floor would be looking straight down. You'd be like over a city street, right?
Yeah.
It'll be like between two buildings. This would be a room between two buildings, so
it's
it'd
like
be
sandwiched. It's like
yes.
Okay.
But I guess I'm talking about the exterior of it mostly. But down below is a crazy city street, and it's very terrifying to look down.
Okay, and you're standing in. We're both inside of this room. Are there walls in the room? Like the floor is glass, correct? It's like glass see-through.
Yes, very thick, safe glass.
Okay, but are the walls still painted the red, yellow, and alternating blue? Are you keeping that?
No, no, that's. I mean, I guess if I wanted it to be very uncomfortable, we could keep that. This is what this room is going to be. It's going to be confronting my fears of heights.
Do you really have a fear of heights?
I do. When you're on an edge of a bridge or like some super tall cliff, like looking over, your balls start to go swim up into your gut.
Yeah. I always inevitably think about jumping off. And I know it's never going to happen, but I always think about just like what that possibility is.
Oh,
like.
yeah. Yeah. I think I heard a podcast about those thoughts that you get where it's like you're driving off on the edge of a mountain. You're like, what if I just drove off? Like You're not going to do it, but you think about it.
Right.
So you're looking down, and after being in this room for a while, you're, as long as it's going to take, I'm not going to be scared of heights like this anymore. I'm not going to have to worry about looking over a beautiful vista and being too scared to go to the edge for fear of heights. I'm going to be just like a mountain goat and just look right down. And it's going to be no big deal.
Okay, fantastic.
So you're looking down. It's very scary. You're very high up. And once I pass the test of, there's going to be one of those windows is going to be circular, and it's going to have a hatch on it. So you can go open the hatch, and you can look down. Well, you can fall through. You can fall through like that scene in Game of Thrones when there's a hole.
Right, and
there's like someone's on trial and they push them through.
Right.
But this will have that, so you can open it up. So you can take it to the next level. You can just be completely safe. You can be completely safe. It'll be like the one on the right. That'll be circle.
Yeah. And
then you can undo the hatch and look down, and it's just open air. And you could be really scared at that point. There'll be something to hold on to, just in case a gust of wind comes through. There's got to be some kind of safety thing. And then the one on the left will also be circular. But going in that window will be an acrylic 4-inch thick state-of-the-art plastic tube that goes down like a spiral all the way down to the street level.
Okay.
It's like the world's coolest slide.
Yeah.
This is going to be fun too. And in the middle, but they'll be, and then in the middle will just be one giant clear safety window that's always going to be just there.
Okay, so the windows are functional. It's like we have one circular functional hatch on every side.
Yeah, and in the center, just a window that looks down. Now on the wall that you're looking at with the two windows there.
Right.
That is going to be, how am I going to describe this? But if you imagine the ceiling is going to jut out farther than the floor. So, you know how the Star Wars type goes?
Yeah.
That'll fit on there, and it'll be perspectively correct. So like it'll go out an extra like 5 feet at the top, so the wall will be on a slant.
Oh.
So your windows are looking down on the sides too.
Whoa.
So you can like tilt. You could tilt, because I think I saw, there's another video I saw. I think it's in Chicago at perhaps the John Hancock building, or maybe the Sears Tower, Willis Tower.
Yeah.
Where like you have this experience where it tilts you down, but this is going to be just permanently tilted forward. So it's just going to be, the wall is going to be at about a, say, 70-degree angle.
So the whole thing is threatening to push you toward your fear.
Yeah.
It's designed to make you just confront this thing.
Yeah. Okay, and then on the left, let's start with the left. The left, I like how the window on the bottom goes flush to the floor.
Yeah.
We're just going to pop those windows out. So there will be a T. There'll be like, there's a T, kind of like a, I don't know what you call that. You see how it's a 4-window grid?
I have to open up my own image so I know what I'm talking.
Yeah. So
the grid,
on the left, I'm just going off the one.
Yeah.
that you sent me. So there's a window on the left that goes flush to the floor.
Right.
But there'll be no glass in it. But there will be the sort of a grid, a safety grid that your body can't fit through. So even if somebody tried to stuff you out that window and kill you, they wouldn't be able to. But it'll look scary. It'll look scary. Like you can get pushed through. And I know I said this is going to be flush to other buildings.
Yeah.
So it won't be flush to other buildings. They'll be in the center of the left and the right wall. There'll be just sort of like a rod that holds.
Oh,
so it's not flush.
It's just being suspended from the ground.
It's suspended. Like, yeah. Imagine you're holding, like an apple with holding your two pointer fingers holding it up. It's kind of like look like that. Yeah. I don't know why I thought of an apple, but you know what I'm saying. Like
I do.
Picking up a shoebox with just your index fingers. That's what the size will look like.
Okay, so there could be like a rod going through the whole thing, right through the center, sort of. A column.
Now let's just make no rod going. It just hits the wall.
Okay, so
it's strong enough to hold it.
Gotcha.
In this world.
You ever heard of this guy? I feel like I'm gonna butcher this. I think his name is like Shipwreck Kelly or something. And he was this old performer who, probably in like the 20s, and his thing was like he would just find tall poles and just sit on them for like days, and that was like his thing. Have you heard of this guy?
I feel like I've seen those guys that would sit on chairs on the edge of buildings.
Yeah,
those are like the early parkour kind of like Daredevil Russian building Daredevils. They don't have that thing that says don't hang off at this edge or whatever.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to eliminate. They'll be fine in this building. Right.
Room. I think it's definitely one of those things where like I watch those videos of those Russian kids running around on these buildings and my palms always get sweaty and it feels like they're definitely profiting from using this thing that's like an evolutionary failure in some ways. Like whatever it is that makes them want to dangle off of buildings, they found out how to monetize it, which is some ways seems a little bit evil. Like I don't know.
Yeah, well, I don't think it's evil. I just think I don't know. I think they're just whatever. They're just capitalizing on their skill.
At the threat of plummeting to your death, you know what I mean? Like that thing to me seems.
Well, it only harms them. It only harms them. That's why I don't think it's evil.
Okay.
Unless
it's like that movie Magnolia, where he like drops off a building and then kills like two people on his way down or something like that.
Oh yeah, you don't want. I guess there is that chance.
Right, which is pretty awful. I wanted to ask you a little bit about your shows, Two Wet Crew, Poundhouse, which I love. And I wanted to ask about, and this is going to be hard for me to sort of articulate, but I wanted to ask about your relationship with negative space in life. And what I mean by that is sort of like, I was thinking about Poundhouse and the stuff you do and the way I interpret it and what I find funny about it. And I'm just sitting on the bus and some guy like got on the bus and it was like kind of funny how he walked on and he was just like looking around kind of goofy and then he just tapped his thing on the bus and paid for it and just went and sat down. Like a completely insignificant moment, but I found myself like honing in on that. And it was just like in the story of life, if life was just some kind of if someone was recording all of it, this would be a scene that anyone else would discard. But I feel like one of the many powers of Poundhouse and Two Wet Crew is taking these moments and then just kind of like exploding them and just putting them in the forefront. Am I making any sense right now?
Oh, you're making a lot of sense. Yeah,
Okay.
I have a hard time even articulating, but I just
and
know
you don't have to explain these things either, but like I'm just so curious about like your process of like capturing these things, like noticing them. Like what is that like for you?
Man, that's a tough question. I find hilarious absurdities in the most banal parts of life sometimes, I think.
Yeah.
If that explains it. I mean, there's a lot of things that you're talking about one part of Poundhouse that I don't know how to explain. Sometimes I don't even know how to explain. I just
Right, it's no problem. Well, I'll ask you, do you like taking public transport? Do you like people watching?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I mean, well, to back up a little bit, I like stuff that's funny that I don't know why it's funny.
Okay.
That's kind of like the funniest stuff to me.
Because
you know what I mean? Like you kind of know why, but like I like to with Poundhouse and To a Crew, I like creating moods that I don't know. I like things to be. You're like making like something scary, but it's really not. But it kind of is, and real like life can be just scary. Just if you just like think about it, you're like, holy shit, I'm alive. I'm this. I have this whole like body filled with trillions of bacteria or whatever, and it's all this big ecosystem. And my heart's just beating, and I don't even know why. And I don't know. It's that kind of thing where it's just like, what's going on here?
Like it's strange enough.
You want to like peel
right?
back. That's why I like David Lynch or something, stuff like that, where it's like you're peeling back like the layers of reality for a second.
I see some David Lynch in the stuff you make, and I don't know if that was a kind of like I never know if people are going to be offended like when I make these comparisons, but like the episode you made of I think it was a Two Wet Crew episode where you were talking like your character has a dream and he's in the pool and a Monster Energy drink inside like and it's hell inside of a Monster Energy cooler.
Yeah, well,
that felt so Lynchian to me. It felt really just like you guys went for it in that one.
Well, in Poundhouse, we definitely like do some nods to David Lynch. There's some scenes that are straight up like homages to scenes from some of his films.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one, that was a collaboration with me and Mikey collaborated with this guy, Cole Cush, who's a amazing 3D animator. But yeah, the sound is really, I think, my biggest tool with both of those shows.
And I noticed
because you could take one scene, you could take like a scene from a soap opera, and scrub out all the dramatics. I haven't seen a soap opera since the 80s or something, so you can like scrub out all the dramatic like whatever stringed music, and it would just be like the most boring thing or something.
Yeah.
And then you could also take something kind of not dramatic and put super dramatic music on it, and then it just adds this tension that is kind of funny to me.
Yeah, I think there's this episode where the one where the watermelon one where you walk in and it's Johnny Pemberton and the other fella whose name I forget. Remind me of his name, Johnny Pemberton and
Brent or Mikey?
Yeah, I think it's Mikey. But they were looking at their watch and they look at you and there's just this moment. I think it's like 15 to 30 seconds of super dramatic like cutaway. It's like zooming in, everything's flipping, and I'm just I'm just uncontrollably laughing. And it's one of these moments where it's super rare as an adult to I think have a piece of art like stab you in this way that's you have no control over how powerfully this thing hits you. And I'm just sitting there laughing with my headphones on, like belly laugh, and just thinking like I can't control how in tune I am with this thing, how strange it all is. I think I'm gushing right now talking about your editing process. How did you learn to edit? I know it's a boring ass Charlie Rose question, but like when did you first start doing it?
Well, let me explain that scene real quick. We completely stole that from a Bollywood film.
Oh,
it was like a clip going around.
I take back everything I said. All the accolade.
But in the Bollywood film, it was supposed to be serious. It was like this dramatic moment where this guy sees a woman. I don't even know. The little clip is out of context, but it's just a man lifting up his like shade tipping and a woman stepping out of a car, and he can't believe it, and they just the way the editor did it was like it just kind of broke every rule. It was like who would cut something like that? You know, like who would do like a lot of the stuff that I find is funny, and like a lot of times when I worked with Tim and Eric, it would just be like, why would they, you know, when they're like writing like a Cinco product, it'd be like, why would this be necessary? And like that's the funny part is like why, you know.
But to them, it's anyway, not a joke. You know, it's like it's real to them, which is straight. Which that is the real bizarre nature of it, right? Because I mean, we're looking at it in a meta sense, but they're inside of it, and it's okay to them completely.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure in the Bollywood film, it's just it's so dramatic. You know, it's like supposed to be. It's taking the dramatic like shock zoom and just doing it 50 times. You know.
Yeah. Where
then at that point, it's like, are you seriously? Like, this is your final cut here? Like, this is the one you're going with? You know, like how did they decide that was okay? Anyway, that's what we kind of got it from this clip I saw like on Facebook. Somebody was like, Doug, did you edit this? You know, I get those things a lot where it's like,
yeah,
did Doug Loosenhop edit this? You know, people will like tag me. I'll be like, no, I wish I did. Now I'm going to. So how did I start? I just sort of taught myself. I got a job when I was in community college in Illinois, and I got a job. In high school, we would make films on my friend's dad's like Super 8 camera, not Super 8, High 8 or whatever, 8mm video camera, and we just did in camera. I think I got good at editing because I started from like the very most rudimentary way of doing it was doing it in camera, where you would shoot a scene, a shot, and then you would have to hit stop just at the right time. And then I would learn how long it takes for it to actually start going again. So you kind of like hit record and then it'll be like maybe 2 seconds. So I would just get good at that. And then just by experimenting like that, I mean, we would make the dumbest movies in high school. You know, we'd have like wigs on,
yeah,
and doing stupid stuff like that. But it was sort of starting like that, and then I got a job and I knew I wanted to be in the arts somehow. I was like taking art classes in college, and I needed a job, so I found a job on the job board that was like at a place that does like wedding videos.
Yeah.
And I thought I like making little movies. Maybe I could work there, check that out. So I was able to use their equipment after hours. And this was before like Final Cut Pro. So it was just like tape to tape. So there was a controller. So then I was able to take tapes. It was tape editing. So you shoot a bunch of footage on one tape and then cut it down onto the B tape or whatever, the master tape.
Yeah.
So you set the ins and outs, and then like learning it like that, I think kind of put my mind, I don't know. And then once nonlinear editing came out, like cutting it on a computer, then I was like, holy shit, I could just chop this up and put this over there. And I just went nuts immediately. I made everything go backwards and like slow-mo. I just played with all the effects that I never had before. I had super limitations in the beginning, and then it went from like extreme limitations to like unlimited options.
Do you think
that might have helped. That might have helped.
So like, yeah, I guess you just answered my questions. That the limitations at the beginning were good. I think every artist needs to start out with those kinds of limitations. But what it sounds like is like, so you think. Do you think that just inside you genetically there was always this desire to have an associate or use those effects as a tool? Because I feel like, I mean, like the way you work with effects and cutting, it's just like I feel like it's so precise, and you have a really clear, close, like functional relationship with like special effects.
Well, I'm not that good with special effects. I do like them. I'm not like an expert. I don't know how to make things like really like real. I like when things are kind of like, I guess kind of lo-fi would be kind of a word. I always like music that's kind of feels like, you know, the demo tape You know what I mean? It's got a little more
Yeah.
like it's got like a little more soul to it. When it's like overly polished, it kind of sounds like just bland, like just things in general. Like
Hmm.
not everything. There's a lot of things that are very highly polished and thought out that look amazing and are great works of whatever it is.
Do you think it
But
would be? Do you think a version of? Have you seen Avengers: Infinity War?
no, I have not.
Oh damn! This reference will be completely lost on you. Well, what's your favorite superhero movie?
Well, to be honest, I don't really like superhero movies.
Wow, why? That's way more interesting to me. Why do you not like them?
Um, just because it just seems like I'm just sitting there like, okay, so then, oh, why didn't he just fly away? Or like, the stakes aren't real, you know?
Yeah.
There's something about that where it's just, and then I recently did watch Deadpool 2, and I've never seen any Deadpool thing ever. I had no idea what the character was.
It's
It was
really
entertaining.
silly.
I mean, those are kind of entertaining, but I don't know. And most of them there's so much CGI that
Yeah.
there's just like this. I like movies about like real people, basically. I mean, probably if I had to pick, probably Batman, because he's actually it's like okay, he's a real guy. That's what I do
Right.
like about him. And even though, just he can do just impossible things, and you're like, okay. A lot of time, like that's the problem. Like I tried to explain before, but like there's these dumb fight scenes where they're slamming each other and the whole building falls over, and then
Right.
they never die, and then they finally die, and then they don't die. It's just like, what? Come on,
Nah.
you know. Well, what's your favorite one?
My favorite super. I did not expect to get this question back. I feel caught off.
Well, tell me what's good. Tell me what's good now. Check it out.
Okay, the Dark Knight trilogy by Christopher Nolan is awesome. I mean, you're an artist, like you'll appreciate that stuff. And if
Yeah, I did see. Yeah, one of those was really cool. I
the
think I
Heath
saw
Ledger one, right?
Yeah, that was cool.
And just Tom Hardy as Bane is just fantastic. With the mask on. Have you seen
Yeah.
that?
I don't know if I saw that. Is that the second one?
There's the third one. He's like, "Oh, Master Bruce Wayne." He talks like that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Either I saw it and it kind of just like it just sort of like when I watch those movies, they kind of just wash over me.
Yeah, I don't. None of them really. Sometimes you get moments like there.
Uh-huh.
I think in the second Thor, the cool thing about this current Bruce Banner, played by Mark Ruffalo, is like he is suicidal. Like he hates his life and he hates himself, and he's the only person in that crew who's not like, they get to go around having flashy lives and like they're so attractive and shit. And he's like, I literally cannot not be here. Like at some point he casually says, I tried to shoot myself in the head once and it didn't work, and everyone just kind of ignored him and just went on to do their stuff. But I like little moments like that are just delicious to me. But I know overall they're kind of stupid. Oh, here's my answer for the modern ones. Spider-Man Homecoming is pretty good.
Spider-Man: Homecoming. I don't think
Yeah.
I've seen.
It's
I don't even think I've heard of that one. I hope it takes place at the homecoming dance.
that would be so much more interesting than what it is. Probably it's good, but I'd love to see you direct a superhero movie, man. If they just gave you a shit ton of money and like you had to do a Batman movie or something,
Yeah, let's do it.
would you?
I would like to direct any movie.
Wait, real? Like,
I mean,
I
with
assume you
with if I could do my own, if I could make some choices.
is that the game? I mean, like you're super duper far ahead of me in this game. So I mean, is it like? What's the process of like having the raw idea of like? I mean, Poundhouse, like that's like at least like 95% you, right? That's like your thing. A Poundhouse 2 Crew is yours.
I collaborate with those shows.
Okay, yeah. Well, I guess what I mean is like you're not getting notes from someone saying like,
Oh yeah.
I need this. Can we make
Yeah,
these
100%. Yeah, I mean,
Okay, yeah, you know
just
what
with just the people I create them with. Yeah,
right?
is
But
the only creative notes I work with.
But I wonder like what happens when you get to the point of like you're directing Spider-Man 2. Like, is it sort of like you get to this place where you had this pure artistic vision, but you just owe so many people? Is that what happens to directors?
Oh, I think so. But there's some out there that probably are at the point where they get to just make their art without the studio meddling, because they've proven that it's going to make money.
Right.
And gone are the days. We were talking about this with my friends the other day. Like, I don't know if there's like a Robert Altman out there anymore.
You gotta remind me who that is.
He's kind of like this director from the 70s. He did MASH, Nashville.
Oh,
like
okay.
these movies with like huge casts, like 24 main characters. I think that was MASH. He did The Player, which is one of my favorite movies. He did like McCabe and Mrs. Miller. They're not huge blockbusters, but he just made movie after movie, and it seemed like no one. I mean, some of them are like so weird that like
MASH.
he just got to do his art.
Yeah.
It just seemed like that, and he just seemed to make a lot. And some of them seemed like they had big budgets.
Holy shit! He directed Popeye with Robin Williams.
Yeah, have you seen that?
I've never. It looks so weird. Is it good?
I saw it when I was a kid, and it's weird. It is so weird. That's definitely worth revisiting. I should check that out again.
Okay, so who else is in?
But he did this one called Brewster McCloud with Bud Cort. We were talking about this the other day. It's just like such a weird movie, a huge like production value. And like, I don't know if people, that's the sad thing about movies now. I think there's just too much money involved. Like, if you want to make a movie, you can make there's people who are making indie movies.
Yeah.
But I don't know if there's like someone like Robert Altman where the studios are just like, yeah, go make your art.
Make some weird ass shit.
Like, maybe there's someone out there. I can't think of who.
I mean,
maybe like Wes Anderson. Maybe he's sort of a.
Yeah.
I guess that could be a modern. I mean, they're very different styles, but
in terms of just like being able to complete their vision, or at least it looks like they're just completing that.
Like, if Wes Anderson wants to make a movie, he can just make it. I assume he doesn't have to have. He doesn't have to. He can. He's got the funding. He's got the whatever. The studios are going to be behind him. They're going to be like, go make it.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So my point is mute. So there is someone like him. So never mind. My point's mute. Moot. Never.
Moot point. Who else is in that pantheon though of like artists who kind of seem like they're just doing their thing? Daniel Johnston, what's that guy up to lately?
It's a good question. I think he's
doing stuff.
I feel like he's performed around LA recently in the last year or two. He performed because my friend actually played guitar for him.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
So he's doing his thing. I don't know if that counts.
You don't think so? Why not?
Well, he's one of many just indie musicians who's able to perform on a small scale. I mean, there's tons of those.
Oh, the scale is what you're talking about. Just having the
Yeah. The scale. I mean, I could go play a show where Daniel Johnston played. I could probably say, "Hey, I have a band now. Can I play here?" They'll be like, "Okay," but I can't make Brewster McCloud. You know what I mean?
You know what? I think Tarantino is another one of those.
Yeah, that's a good example, but he's quitting.
I suppose he's like Jay-Z. That's like Jay-Z saying he's gonna retire 28 times. It's not happening.
Yeah, he shouldn't quit. Come on, he's gonna get bored. Want to get back?
Like what else is he gonna do? Like listen to records and shit? It ain't happening.
What's he gonna do? It's not like he has some side hustle. He's not like out there. He's not like writing articles. Yeah, I don't know what's his hobby.
I bet he probably just writes. I feel like that guy probably doesn't. Maybe drives a little bit. I don't know.
Maybe he'll just produce stuff. He should be out there behind the lens. His movies are so fun.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's not like a Jay Leno who just decides, "Oh yeah, I love cars." Like that guy really likes cars.
Yeah.
That motherfucker has like a 28 million car garage. I feel like that's kind of, in this bizarre way, I feel like that's what he wanted to do from the beginning. Like he should have just been a mechanic or something. I don't know. Very weird.
I think he should have. He would have saved us a lot of bullshit.
How do you guys feel about this new Richard Dixon fella? Huh?
No, I don't really care. I don't. I'm just kidding. I don't.
I know. Yeah,
Jay Leno. I'm not like some Jay Leno hater. The thing is, I never really cared about those late night shows. I don't really like those late night shows. I don't watch them.
But that's all changing too. Although they're popping up everywhere on YouTube, I think they're realizing that no one watches these things on TV anymore. Everything is shifting online. So I think we're in this really, to kind of come back full circle, I think we're in this super transitional period in terms of how things are even produced. I mean, like I think the production studios are probably getting kind of shooken up and kind of confused about how things get made and what to put money into, because people's eyeballs aren't in the same place anymore.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know what that means for me. I think that's a good thing for me because someone like you could, back when I started making stuff, it was pretty much before YouTube.
Yeah.
And now someone like you, are you in New York?
I'm in DC.
Well, someone across the country is familiar with my work because I get to put it on a platform that anyone in the world can see, ostensibly.
So I'm gonna
have access.
I'm gonna sort of. I'm so fucking off with segues, but like I want to kind of taxi this conversation down inside of this room. By the way, we've just like I've been horrified standing in here with you, looking down at this depth we might plummet to. But anyway, let's say I give you $50 million. What does your project look like if you could make something that was worth that much? What kind of weird
are we talking about the room? Or are we gonna do?
No. It's we're like your film. You don't have to worry about the room anymore. We're still in it.
Oh.
I
can make the Pound. Movie? I mean, I would make the Pound. I would like to make a feature. I would like to make the Poundhouse movie, or the Two-Way Crew movie.
Two-Way Crew. Oh my god.
I mean, that would be fun. That would be a very fun project. We could easily do that for $50K. We could do the Poundhouse feature for $50K. No problem.
I would love to see like Leonardo DiCaprio come through Doug's house and fuck everything up somehow. By the way, is he? I feel like this is such a fucking noob question.
I would love to get Leonardo. If he's Leo, if you're listening, get in touch.
DiCaprio's on the horn, man. I got him.
Oh, cool.
Do you ever interpret Doug as being in hell or purgatory? Because his life is just, there's like an intense suffering that he's experiencing.
There is a lot of theories going out there, and I don't really put too much. I don't put that. It's the kind of thing where I'm not putting that much thought into it, but some people have some really interesting theories about it. One theory is that Brent seems like a menace to my character's life. He's always sort of like controlling me. And I resist,
Right.
But ultimately, he's like a guardian angel because if you watch the whole series, he kind of steers me in the right direction.
Yeah. Very bizarre.
But yeah, I mean, being in like a hell world, I think that is kind of what I was going for because I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago. Yeah. And whenever I go back there, luckily my parents moved away from there, but anytime I'm in an area like that, it just seems like this weird kind of hell. Like it's way scarier to me. Like that would be like an awful existence to live there, just surrounded by TJ Maxx and strip malls and the same, the same shitty crap everywhere, and just it has like somehow it's just like a corporate soulless like hell,
Little to no
but
culture,
it
right?
also no culture. It's just like this pretty place, but there's something about it. There's the way that it has just no edge to it or something makes
Yeah.
it seem, or it's like seemingly so safe or something. There's just something about it that makes me feel like I got to get out of here. This is like just a depressing. It's like a very depressing kind of place, and I think I'm tapping into that when I make something like Poundhouse.
This sort of reminds me of. He never really touched this, but Rockwell's vision of America, like his contributions to the American dream, and this
Rockwell, someone's watching me. The great thinker. Norman Rockwell. Norman
there. Yeah. So Norman Rockwell like had this he'd paint these visions of like it's all just but at the same time it's like Korean War, Vietnam War, people getting killed, and these things exist at the same time, right? But these people are they're inside their homes, and this sort of American ideal of like, okay, I can just be sheltered from all that stuff, all the urban stuff, if I just leave and live in these cookie cutter pockets with everybody else and chase their same kind of it. There is something I think perversely horrific about it, and like you said, the lack of culture is creepy. TJ Maxx is like, I hate going to Marshall's and driving to
like a mall. Like malls can be, they could put me in. I get into some kind of like droney,
because
like
you're
trance.
Because you're walking, you're just like, you walk at this pace that's like, you're not walking with a purpose, right? Unless you just want to get to the movie theater, you're meandering, and it's like people offering you these little cups of like, I don't know, hummus, and then it's just like 95% of the stuff in there you don't need. We don't need any of that stuff.
You don't need any of it.
But that's, I think, to me, that's sometimes where some of my anxiety comes from with this stuff is like, I'm honestly trying to seek a moment in my life when I'm not being sold something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like in the mall or in the suburbia where I'm talking about, you're just surrounded by, I don't know, commercial things, just corporate versions of crap.
Yeah.
Like you go to a small town, like a small town is a beautiful, happy place where people know each other. Like something like that is very nice to me. And there's certain cities I've been to where they fight to keep out McDonald's and
wow,
franchises and stuff. There's a city I'm thinking of, and I don't even want to mention it because I don't want to blow up my spot. But there's this couple cities in California where it's just they make sure, I don't know, that the city council decides like we're not going to have any franchises in this town.
Holy shit.
And it's just a beautiful little place.
That's integrity, though. That's the same thing as Robert Altman. That is the integrity to self and like what it is that you want out of life. Of course, at the expense of money. It's always that you give up the money and you say, "Well, I'm going to keep this thing pure."
Yeah, I don't know about the money because people are going to still spend their money. It's just going to be more of at a mom and pop spot instead of a Whole Foods. It's going to be
nowhere near as much money.
The grocery store that is locally owned, and it all goes back into the community. I'm very community minded. I read this book recently called Tribe by Sebastian Junger. I highly recommend that.
Okay.
And he's like a war correspondent veteran kind of guy, and he describes in great detail about how when guys come back from war, even though they were in the most horrific conditions, there's something about it they miss, and that contributes to the PTSD because they had such a tight bond and such a sense of purpose and community within their own little tight group of guys, and they had a mission and they had a purpose.
Yeah.
And they come back, and everything is just that's kind of stripped away from them, and they don't have a purpose when they come back. And that's the kind of thing that it really was when the depression sets in, I think. And like another thing he says is like during wartime, he's not saying war is good. He's just saying it forces people to work together and be communal. Like during the London, the Blitzkrieg or whatever, suicide rates went down, rates of depression went down, and they're being shelled by the Nazis, because people had a purpose in life, and they bonded together, and they had a very intense, close connection with their neighbors and with each other, which you don't get when you're at peacetime. So the struggle is how do you make that bond? How do you find those connections? And I think, a lot of this stuff with like, this is conjecture, if that's the right word, but maybe these kids who are like turning into like shooters and shooting up random people, maybe there's something about that where their life is like, has no purpose, and they could be missing something like that makes them, I don't know, snap or something. Or just people who decide to open fire at a crowd in general. Like maybe there's something to that where they're lacking connection with other human beings and purpose.
I can see what
but my wall needs a window on the right.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I was gonna. No, I didn't expect this to go there, but I think it's so interesting because I mean, like, look, here's what's. I feel like even with like horrifically violent acts, I feel like there's a transferal of energy, and I don't even mean this in a hoity-toity sort of like hippie way, but like. Even if it's hateful energy, there's like, I think there's a big issue in this country, in the world probably, but I can just specify this country with like us not knowing how to communicate things, especially emotions. Like, do you feel trapped? Do you feel like you don't have a purpose? I mean, this is why therapy is great, obviously, because you get to talk to a therapist about that, and it doesn't get transferred out in violent actions, and like sort of crazy like revengeful insane shit. But I think if I can add to what you're saying, it seems like you're talking about a sense of community also being kind of self-policing, right? It's like accountable. You're accountable to your community. You're supposed to be open with your community, and having a purpose also implies to me that there's discipline. Again, accountability, you being open about what your function is and how you can help people, how you can help your community, right? In an ideal world.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I've known it from firsthand experience. I mean, I do suffer from depression once in a while. Nothing like intense that real sufferers get, but
yeah. And
I try to like zoom out and be like, okay, why do I feel like this today? It's because I'm not doing anything. Or I'm just sitting there, not just sitting there, but I'm not kind of like, I'm not doing anything, or I'm not talking to people, or I'm not connecting with anyone. I think that's where it starts, I think.
I have this thing where I've been thinking a lot about vacations and my relationships with them. And to be honest with you, man, I kind of hate them because it's
man, I kind of agree with you.
I don't like doing nothing. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's such a weird thing to say as an American, and I feel insane saying this because it's like ever since I was a kid, I was taught that I'm supposed to be seeking that beach or something where I'm just laying there. I'm relaxing, and I don't know what that is. Like, I can't chill, I guess.
No, I'm the same way.
Yeah,
I do like my beach, but I like to go there. Like, I wouldn't go to the beach by myself.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I would just to like read a book if I ever.
It feels mad lonely though, doesn't it? Like.
Yeah. going on a vacation by myself, I couldn't do that. It has to be with someone. You have to share the experience. But I do fantasize about traveling, just kind of like traveling in the world somehow by myself, and just the adventure of that would be something else. But it wouldn't be a holiday where I'm just sitting poolside doing nothing.
See, but again, it's back to the purpose, and I imagine what would happen is that you'd be creating something as you're doing it. I mean, because you're a creative person. I would imagine you're kind of like me, and like that's kind of what's keeping you sane in a way. Like me being creative is really, it's kind of like holding out a beacon and being like, is anyone else feeling like this? You know what I mean? Like, does anyone else? Right? But like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, for
like,
sure.
Okay, I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, it feels good when people like connect with whatever my videos or something. You know, like that's the greatest feeling, because then I don't know the question that I'm asking is, I am not alone or something like that.
Right.
The answer I'm getting is that other people can connect to it, and that's ultimately, I don't know. I'm getting, I don't know what the word is, overthinking it or something, but
I was gonna say too swaggy.
I just like to make it. I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't want to overthink. I don't like when things are overthought. It's like get an impulse to make something, and you make it, and it feels good. That's pretty much it. But then it's a bonus when people are saying they really like it and they kind of connect with it or something.
Right. But
I had one girl was saying recently that she was like connecting with Two Wet Crew on some kind of like psychic deep level. I was like, whoa.
Two Wet Crew had her seeing stuff, like just connecting with the astral plane and shit.
Yeah, something like that. Which is cool.
Oh man.
You know, I think like, you know, I like psychedelic kind of trippy stuff, I guess, but like not in a basic kind of way.
What do you mean?
You know, not in a looking at Egyptian visuals.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
like Poundhouse to me is kind of psychedelic. It just has something about it. There's just like a mood I'm trying to create, which is sort of a psychedelic kind of dreamlike, I guess, is better than maybe saying psychedelic. And
Yeah.
To a Crew as well. It's very dreamlike when it's working. Not all of those videos work, but when they work, it has this dreamlike quality, which I like, and that's kind of what I'm going for.
To me, it feels like those videos, your videos exist. I mean, and this is going back to, I mean, the Tim and Eric stuff, like Eric Andre, the things you've collaborated on and worked on, they feel like they all live in a parallel dimension. And I know it sounds crazy that I'm saying this, but I mean it. They're closer to our reality than Superman, Batman, Spider-Man. Even though those films are like super popular and everything, and people like flock to them, I feel like these, as absurd as these worlds are that you're creating, it feels like it's not so far away.
I couldn't agree more.
Okay, you know what I'm saying.
Not to honk my own horn, but yeah. I mean, I don't connect with those superhero movies at all. I try to dabble in sort of things that are under the subliminal surface or something like that. Because subliminal by definition is under the surface, but you know what I mean? Kind of like more subliminal things, but real things.
So how do you deal with working too hard? Because you're a hard worker, but like, when do you know it? It's like, okay, chill out. I know I'm not going on vacation, but let me just not work for a while. How do you know when that is happening?
Oh, well, I've been struggling with not working too hard lately.
Oh shit. Okay.
Well, I worked on like TV shows for a long time where I would be on a show for like 5 months sitting in front of a computer, which these shows I'm very proud of. And like, I loved it for a while, but then after a while I really got burnt out. And, so then I got to a point where I could not have to do that. kind of work from home on smaller projects, which is great.
Hmm.
So my struggle is I always have a lot of projects in the works, and my struggle is to get working, get those things accomplished.
Right.
So that's my goal is I have little tricks I do. Very common things. I write down a to-do list for the day, and then I try to check those things off of the list. And yeah, I think I go through these waves where I get burned out. I'll do stand up for a while, and then I get burned out. I don't like my act anymore. Kind of sick of my jokes. So then I take a break from it. And then I'm like, I kind of miss it. And I have all these ideas for jokes, and then I'll go back into it. Then I'll get sick of it again. Yeah. And then I'll like work on music. So my problem is I'm spread too thin. I like to make music, and the music stuff I'm getting better at it, but I'm not going to be like a professional musician.
Right.
But I would love to. Like that would be the best. To just be like a producer kind of guy.
But you know what would be kind of
I want to be like Paul White.
Paul White? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe I should hang out in his room untouched.
It's too late. DJ Douggpound.
Damn it.
You've already created the room. Right? We're in it. We're in the sky right now, man.
Nuts.
I think the one aspect of being a musician that I think touring is probably, you've toured. I mean, that sounds super exhausting in a way.
Yeah, it is, but I kind of miss it.
Huh.
It's the kind of thing where like I said about that book, where like when those guys come back from war, and not to compare,
of course,
going on tour with Tim and Eric to war, but we have a little crew, and we're like, where I'll have a mission every day, and we have to do the show and get in and sound check, and all these people are there, and it's just the pressure's on, and I don't know, you miss that, and you miss like being in a new city every day, even though it's a pain in the ass to get in a van or get on a plane, which I hate flying, but I just do it because I don't know, just something about it that it's really, I don't want to say fun. It can be fun and exhausting.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like doing work, but it's good work. You it's hard work, but then you feel accomplished and great after you get through it.
I mean, I think we definitely need purpose as humans and as creative people. I think as long as we're in some sense in the short term and long term working towards something, I think it's a really good sign. When there's nothing on the horizon, to me that's scary. It's like what the hell is going to come up?
Yeah. That's why I just create projects for myself. And hopefully, like I've never had, like many of my dreams have not been accomplished as far as like what I'm trying to do in this entertainment biz. My first dream was just to work on a comedy TV show.
Yeah.
And that worked out. That worked out great. Now I'd like to, have my own show that I'm calling the shots on. And that's really tough to like convince these guys to trust me.
So then you got to do the other. I mean, it's like the Chance the Rapper thing where it's like I'm doing it on my own, I guess. No one wants to put me on.
Well, yeah. Then I just keep making these Two Wet Crew videos and Poundhouse when I can, and just as long as I'm doing that, I feel like I'm brick by brick building the room, the room I'm in.
The room. I mean, yeah, I want everyone listening to this to please check out Two Wet Crew and Poundhouse, because I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. Like it's amazing shit, and it's I wish there were like $50 million Poundhouse movies. I want to exist in that world,
dude. Okay,
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Maybe one day we get Leo. If we get him attached, maybe you should hashtag Leo DiCaprio. Maybe he searches his own hashtags. And he'll hear this and he'll be like, "What is this Poundhouse thing?"
I gotta know about this Poundhouse. Fucking shit.
Yeah, I think I'm just waiting around for someone like you who gets it to be an executive, a TV executive.
Yeah, and then I have I have like zero industry contacts, so I can do the cigar part where I'm like, Doug, you're gonna be a fucking star in this town. As I can just tap the ashes.
Oh yeah,
that's about all I can give you right now.
I've heard that.
Yeah,
I haven't heard that. I've heard we love your stuff.
It's like
we're gonna have to pass, but we love it.
Very weird.
Yeah, but it's kind of like a game, and it's kind of like it's a challenge. I like a challenge, and I'm gotta keep trying, I guess.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
I don't know, but I think though it's time.
I kind of have to wrap it up in the next 10 minutes or so, if that's okay.
Yeah, it's fine. We'll wrap it up right now. Now this room, it's like teeter-tottering. I feel like the wind blowing us around, and we gotta jump out of this damn slide, Douggpound.
Yeah.
In this room you've created for us.
Yeah.
Please tell people where they can find you.
Oh, so the room's done?
Yeah, it's done. We're in it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, you can leave it. You can stay here. The next person's probably going to paint it over, and you'll have to come back at some point.
I mean, I didn't even get to the chin-up bars going across the ceiling, but...
Okay, okay, that's in there too.
Throw a couple bars over there.
Okay.
And then, if you can, try to throw like a little skate ramp in there somewhere.
Okay.
Maybe on the right side. Could be on the right side could be a quarter pipe.
Okay, people are breaking their fingers every time they do a trick, breaking their legs.
No, it's safe unless you fall. Unless you fall, but it's pretty much just. Anyway, people can find me, at Douggpound and pretty much all the social media. DOUGGPOUND. You can find me on Spotify. I have some tunes on there. I have YouTube. My channel, Douggpound, has stuff. You can probably find Poundhouse on there. I might have made a playlist of it. Yep. Twitter, Instagram. I'm all over the socials.
Fantastic. And you have all that brand continuity with that.
You go to Douggpound.com even.
Yeah, that's a good one, Douggpound. All right.
Yeah.
Doug, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for coming to this room. Thank you for making this room.
Thank you, Dominic. I had a great time. A very pleasant chatting with you.
Thanks, dude.
What I look like, a valet?
Keep it, it's yours.
Hmm?